We have a defense tonight issued via Fox from a Trump spokesperson, a statement, and it's Bradley Moss. Tell me what your legal reaction to this is. This is the statement. President Trump, in order to prepare for work the next day, often took documents, including classified documents, to the residence. He had a standing order that documents removed from the Oval Office, taken to the residence, were deemed to be declassified the moment he removed them. Bradley Moss, that is the defense as of this hour tonight.
Yeah, well, first, let's think about this, Lawrence. The idea that Donald Trump was going to the residence with things to read at night, come on, if you believe that, I've got a bridge to sell you in Alaska. But no, there's no evidence that there was some standing order. And even if there was, we have no reason to believe the White House was enforcing that. That would be insane to try and enforce. That would mean staff officials would have to follow him to the residence every single time he brought those documents with him to make sure to cross out markings and stamp it declassified so that other officials, when they saw it, knew it could be handled as unclassified. There's no indication any of that happened. He's flailing about. He's throwing everything he can at the wall. He's previewing a defense he might have if there's a criminal case. None of this is going to hold up.
Neil Katyal, it strikes me as, well, nothing short of madness. I mean, first of all, let's just not insult the audience's intelligence. We know this isn't true. But for the moment, let's pretend that it was actually true. So Donald Trump, good student that he is of all the homework he has to do, takes this classified homework with him because something important has to be done about it tomorrow. That's why he's taking it home tonight to study. But in the process, he is declassifying this material that was, a minute ago, incredibly carefully protected material and now won't be. That's the theory of the behavior they're describing here.
It's ridiculous, Lawrence, because you don't get to declassify something just for yourself. You declassify for everything. So is the claim that every time he brought something home, it now just allowed the entire federal government and you and me to see our nation's most sensitive secrets? We're talking about, sensitive compartmented information. These are covert operations. These are electronic intercepts, all sorts of stuff. It's ridiculous. And also, I'll point out that the three crimes that were at issue in the warrant today that were named don't rely on classification at all. In fact, some of them predate our classification regime altogether. So even if you bought this bogus defense, it's not going to get him out from under these three crimes. And that's why, to me, Lawrence, just to put a finer point on what Andrew was saying, the headline is, the former president of the United States is now under an investigation for violation of the Espionage Act and other federal crimes. And things are looking very serious for Donald Trump, far more so that it's far more likely that he will face a criminal trial than at any point in his life. We've already known since Monday he was the first former president to ever have been searched, his home. And now it looks like the FBI found the goods. And, before I was acting Solicitor General, I was National Security Advisor at the Justice Department. And I can tell you, this is incredibly serious stuff that they found. And yesterday, when we were on the program and we learned about the nuclear revelations that the FBI was looking for nuclear information and signals intelligence, I said, we have to be cautious. That's just what they're looking for. We don't know what they will find. But now we know today, Lawrence, it's not just the warrant, it's the documents the FBI seized. And the documents on that list include SCI, sensitive compartmented information, our most sensitive information. And that's why Donald Trump, since Monday, has been, pointing the finger at everyone saying, planted evidence, this and that. I mean, and it makes no sense. If the FBI planted this evidence, then what in the world are you talking about declassifying this information? How can it be that you declassified it if it's stuff that the FBI planted? It doesn't make any sense. And another thing is, if you did declassify it, why did you declassify it? Why in the world are you bringing this stuff to your home in Mar-a-Lago now? You're not the president. With nuclear secrets, evidence about foreign leaders, all sorts of classified information. None of this makes any sense. He's scrambling. It looks very, very bad for him.
And to game out the Trump defense here, And in fairness to Donald Trump, look, we all know he does have the stupidest, most incompetent lawyers in America who put this statement together for him tonight. But to game this out, if you have Donald Trump on the witness stand under oath about this, you then ask him, so when you brought the documents back into the Oval Office in the morning, were they automatically reclassified? Was there a standing order to automatically reclassify them? Because apparently they were such serious, important documents that you had to spend the night doing homework on them for the big important meeting the next day. Andrew Weissmann, do you want to add anything to this defense advanced by Donald Trump tonight?
Yeah, I just want to sort of reiterate and sort of stress something that Neil said, which is defense number one that we heard was these documents were planted. In other words, he didn't know anything about them. This was the FBI just, surreptitiously going in there and putting these documents there and did it without anyone being present, even though we now know his lawyers were present. But defense number two is I declassified the documents. Those are fundamentally inconsistent. So now it's not planted at all. His second defense, which is these are declassified, is actually not a legal defense. It is as irrelevant to the charges. So we now have a person who, by all accounts, has committed a serious felony, actually serious felonies, plural. There is precedent for people who have done lesser crimes being charged. And remember, Merrick Garland, as somebody who is a former judge, is going to be looking at precedent. And it is hard to see what the defense is here, because we have heard two completely inconsistent defenses, one of which is not actually a legal defense. In fact, it is much more of an admission to say I declassified them, because that would mean he actually knows about them and saw the contents.
Bradley Moss, there's an event in the timeline that we don't completely understand yet, and that the search warrant documentation does not illuminate. And that is after a meeting that the Justice Department lawyers had at Mar-a-Lago in June about this, where they were in that storage room looking at what was there and deciding what to do next. One of the things that happens after they leave, in addition to telling them a few days later you should put a good lock on that door, is they subpoena the Trump resort surveillance video that would presumably may show who was going in and out of that room. Maybe that video actually includes that room. We don't know. But for some reason, they subpoenaed that video. After the subpoena of that video, we then get to a search warrant. What might they have seen? What might that video be telling us about the road to the search warrant?
Yeah, I can point to a number of things. One is how many different people were coming in and out of that location and had access to those boxes. Typically, documents that are classified are sitting in secure locations, and those that are classified, you saw several sets in there with what's listed as TSSCI, top secret sensitive compartmented information. Those are usually sitting in a location called a SCIF, a sensitive compartmented information facility. Those are very narrow locations that have special locks. This is just a basement door with a padlock on it. So they may have seen who was coming in and out, were documents being removed, and more concerning, were Trump's lawyers going in there? Was Trump himself going in there? What exactly was happening with that room, and why were they not able to get the documents over the last 2 months? And this comes back to that obstruction charge they referenced, was there an effort to, resist turning over all the records to Justice and to NARA?